All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here on the Harmless Dave channel, talking about real music and doing it in real time for a few real people out here, just like you and just like me. So, the end of an era, ERA, SNL 50th anniversary, Paul McCartney ends up being there. I spoke too soon the other day when I was talking about where's Paul McCartney, where's Paul Simon. Paul Simon did show up and did perform. It was weird because the media, I don't watch SNL, and I know about this whole 50th anniversary thing, but I don't stay up that late to watch television anymore. And I can always watch the stuff. And so my good friend Audie from Modern Retro Radio sent me a link to Paul McCartney's performance of the classic Beatles medley, which I got to see back in 1989. Golden Slumbers, Carry That Weight, and The End. Not only did Paul perform, but there were performances from David Byrne, Miley Cyrus, Nirvana, and Post Malone, which I've already talked about here. The Wings frontman, that's funny, performed Golden Slumbers, Carry That Weight, and The End. Beatles fans were sharing their thoughts about Paul McCartney's performance. Some feared the end was in sight for McCartney's touring days. Now, this performance was not good. All right. It was, let me just be blunt, it was not good. Now, this article, though, which comes from a publication in the UK called Cult Following, it says, despite praise for the performance, many wondered if there was much time left to catch the Mull of Kintyre and Live and Let Die songwriter. I love how they have to slip in these titles so they can show how smart they are. Mull of Kintyre? Really? Live and Let Die. Okay. Some people don't know Mull of Kintyre, but anyway, one person wrote, such a joy to see him still performing. Okay, that's legit. Look, this has become about seeing your hero before he departs. Let's just be honest. Whether that is through direct departure, meaning he's no longer on planet Earth, or it means he departs to retirement and enjoys his life. Maybe shows up to do an occasional song here or there. But Paul McCartney has been touring a lot as of late. Someone wrote this. Sounds just as good as he did when I saw him in December. Okay. Just as good. Note the phrase. You can sound just as good as you sang before if you consider that good. The verbiage here is interesting, especially because he says, or she, not at the top of his game, but still a great voice for someone at 82. Now, I get this all the time. He's 82. What do you expect? He's 82. I expect this to kind of sound like it did 30 or 40 years ago. In the case of Paul McCartney, now you have to go back like 60 plus years. Here's the deal. Nobody expected Paul McCartney to be singing at 82 years old still. Now, I knew that Paul had the fountain of youth because he's always looked good. He still looks good at 82. Ringo looks amazing at his age. I think he's 84. So these guys have held up well. And if I were to compare Paul to Ringo, Ringo's voice has held up better, but Ringo was never the kind of singer that did a whole lot with his voice. It's kind of right in that zone. He even talks about this on his latest country album, which is a quaint little country record by a guy who, quite honestly, probably shouldn't be doing country music, but has always done country from way back when he was in the Fab Four. So it worked for him. As far as Paul, I mean, he wrote and sang some strenuous stuff. And the medley is not that easy to sing. So I don't know. Do you choose that? Maybe you choose something that's easier to sing, but Paul has had issues now for a few years. And I did some commentary on the other channel about this, and I get blasted by people who love Paul McCartney. I love Paul McCartney too, but it doesn't mean I'm going to sit here and go, yeah, he should still be doing this. No, at some point, he should probably stop doing this. Someone wrote this. You can see him getting a little bit miffed about his voice, letting him down at a few points. So Paul McCartney can't control what his voice is doing. Give him credit. Here's the upside, all right? Number one, it appears he's performing himself. In other words, he's not bringing in a vocal track, that's for sure. He's not getting pitch corrected. He's not getting any voice augmentation. None of that stuff. He seems to be singing these songs in the original key. So give him credit there. That's not easy to do. And the smaller stage at SNL is a lot more difficult. It's a lot more intimate. You don't have the crowd at the big arena who is essentially doing all the heavy lifting with Paul. I mean, I'll watch the big stadium concert with McCartney, and everybody in the audience is essentially drowning Paul out, which at this stage is probably a good thing for Paul McCartney. And people enjoy the show. How did it sound? We sounded great. How was Paul? I don't know. I think he sounded really good. So people saw him in Paris and London in December. Some of them say he sounded a lot better. He was brilliant. He was brilliant, okay? And that's a word that gets used a lot more in the UK and in various places. I don't know if he was brilliant. He may have sounded better, though. He's still a great showman. Absolutely. Someone said in London it was the best night of my life. So you attach the idea that you got to see a music legend, all right? And he sounded pretty good for what it is. But let's just be honest. If you go and listen to this performance, and I'll probably link to it so you can go, and you'll probably say, Dave, you're being too mean. I thought you were harmless, Dave. You're not being very harmless right now. No, I'm just telling the truth. This is where I get in trouble all the time. I just think a lot of these guys, Brian Johnson should hang it up. Paul McCartney should hang it up. And if you say that, people are like, but I want to go see them still. I'll pay $600 a ticket. I don't care. I want to see AC/DC. I want to get floor seats. Why? You know, hopefully they're going to bring in some AI for Brian Johnson. Seriously. I mean, it'll make it more enjoyable for people. Someone says here, I know he's 82, but can someone here, meaning probably on YouTube or wherever, social media, can you stop acting like he's about to keel over any day now? Nobody's saying he's going to keel over. His vocals are keeling over. He's the fittest and healthiest 82-year-old I have ever seen, whose voice is starting to fail him. They go on to say he's not Frankie Valli, for God's sake. Okay, well, first of all, Frankie Valli is 90, and I think that's a case of elder abuse, what they're doing to Frankie Valli. And Frankie Valli is lip syncing the whole thing, and he's losing his place, and yeah, he should be done too. He should have been done like, I don't know, 10 or 15 years ago. I mean, he's held up pretty well for a 90-year-old, but he shouldn't be up on stage. And again, this is the same with Paul McCartney. He is fit, he's healthy, as is Ringo. Some agreed with the strengths of the performance, but suggested we were witnessing the end of an era and should drink in as much as we can. Made me emotional. We're witnessing the end of an era here. Drink in all you can. Another agreed, adding exactly what I felt. I realized that he'd probably not be making the 60th anniversary of Saturday Night Live, and that really made me appreciate this performance all the more. Well, you never know. With Paul, he might make it to 60. You don't know, the 60th anniversary. But I think this should be the last for Paul McCartney as far as the SNL performances. My guess is he'll probably do another album. He'll probably come out and do another tour. People are going to pay to see Paul McCartney. As long as he's alive, they're going to come and see Paul McCartney. The question is, should he still be doing this? And the bottom line, people will say, well, it's up to me. I make the decision whether I want to see Paul and if I think Paul is good. Well, it's not really your decision as far as his voice and how it sounds. That's not your decision. I mean, if it's bad, it's bad. Remember Huey Lewis? Sometimes bad is bad. All right? There's no getting away from that. The question really is he doing damage to his own reputation? People are going to remember Paul McCartney. Wow, he was great, but he just hung in there too long. I mean, the advantage of people who die young like Jim Morrison and Janis Joplin is they're frozen as this young, vibrant artist. When you hear their music, it's like, wow, they were really good. They never aged. They didn't age because they didn't live long enough to age, you know? And so I guess in a way, it's great that we still have Paul McCartney. That's what I can get out of this little talk that I'm trying to give here. It's great that we still have him. The question is, should he continue to go out there and sing? And I bet you the predominant answer is going to be 100% yes, keep going. But I have no interest. See, I saw Paul McCartney in 1989, and it was one of the greatest concerts of my life to this day. And I'm not going to trade that in for the 2025 version of Paul. I mean, bless the man. I hope he goes on for another 10 years or longer. But, you know, it's already getting kind of rough. And, you know, this is going to be something that people will debate. But Paul has put himself out there. This was not an easy gig. And, you know, we cut Paul a lot of slack because he is Paul McCartney. The world will be a somewhat darker place when Paul passes over to the other side. It definitely will be a different world without Paul McCartney. So I guess enjoy him while you got him. But, you know, for people who say, yeah, he sounds as good as he's sounded, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, go listen to it. Go listen to it and be honest. I think that's what you should do, is just be honest about it. And if you're not wanting to be honest about it because you just don't want to admit that time keeps slipping into the future, well, join the club. I'm in that boat too. It's just sad to watch all this stuff unfold. But here we are. Here we are. God bless Sir Paul. And, you know, maybe there's some magic potion out there that someone will invent. Get his voice back to where it was. I mean, you would think technology with what's going on out there, you mean medicine hasn't really advanced to make those vocal cords kind of snap back to where they used to be? You would think, right? But especially a singer like Paul McCartney, you would think somebody would be on this, like some doctor somewhere would be like, hey, Paul, I've got the magic elixir here. Drink some of this every day. And within a week, you'll be singing like you used to sing in the Beatles, you know? Imagine making promises like that. You have to actually be able to deliver on those promises for it to be meaningful, but you know what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure if there was something available for Paul and Ringo and Brian Johnson and whoever else, they'd be drinking this stuff every day. Or if there was a surgery that he could undergo. I mean, John Bon Jovi had a surgery, and apparently it didn't work out, although the jury is still out on it. We'll see what happens. John says he has to rest, and we'll see if resting helps. Steven Tyler, who broke his larynx, he came back and he did okay, but he's not singing full concerts anymore. Anyway, folks, a lot to think about here, and maybe this is just like a Seinfeld video. It's kind of a lot of stuff about nothing. People age, people can't sing like they used to, and people want to hold on to their heroes for as long as they possibly can.